Say good morning, all of you. See, I am very much delighted to welcome you all to this class for inheritance concept in Java programming. See, Java is one of the most widely used programming language in the world, and it is popularly very much used, and it grows every day. Okay, see, today we are going to discuss about the inheritance concept in Java. Let us get started on this concept of inheritance. See, before we get into the concept of inheritance, let's discuss some of the basics of Java. See, first of all, Java is a fully object-oriented programming language, which means that everything in Java is an object or a class. So in the concept of object-oriented programming paradigm that organizes code into objects that interact with one another, and the object-oriented programming concept comprises various concepts. The major components of hooks are data hiding, classes, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and finally abstraction. So these concepts plays a vital role in Java programming. We can say that object-oriented programming means, see, the all concepts might be applicable based on the requirements of the user. See, Java is fully object-oriented programming because of these various concepts like encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. See, compared to C++, C++ is not fully object-oriented programming because it has some restrictions or limitations while applying all these things. But whereas in Java, all those things are not up to the, it is not restricted one. So this is called pure object-oriented programming. Okay, so the next thing, before we get into the concept of inheritance concept, we just recall the basic concepts of classes in Java. See, we all know that in Java, a class is a blueprint or a template for carrying objects. See, a class is nothing but contains collection of member datas as well as methods to operate the member datas. See, it is a basic building block of object-oriented programming and encapsulates the data and behavior that defines the characteristics and actions of an object. So it is called the basic building block. Means, see, if you create a project oriented thing in Java, see, a class plays a vital role. See, unless until you don't have any class, it is not possible to build a project. Okay, see, a project comprises a collection of classes, packages, interfaces. So all those things are necessary to create a simple student level project. So a class is very much important for all those things. See, a class contains member data as well as member functions or methods. This is what I said. And each and every class that has a separate concepts like access modifiers. Then each and every class will have a separate name and class body. And then the access modifiers, there are 4 categories of access modifiers in Java. See, what is the concept of access modifiers is, see, it determines the visibility of the class. Suppose if you declare a value within the class, by using these access modifiers, we can able to restrict, or we can able to access the how we are going to able to access. That is what the access modifiers says. See, there are 4 categories. They are called public, private, default and protected. Then each and every class should start with the keyword class, and then a class should followed by the class name, and then within that it should contain the body of the class. See, these are the basic concept of creating a class. See, now we all know that how to create a class and accessing the class methods and by using the objects. See, now we move on to the concept of inheritance. See, inheritance can be defined as the process where one class acquires the properties of another class. See, we all know that a class contains collection of properties and methods. So if you want to access one class properties into another class, we need to implement the concept called inheritance. See, the idea behind inheritance is that you can create a new class to build upon existing classes. That's what I said. To acquire the concept of one class into another class. So this is called inheritance. Why do we need to create another class from existing class? See, this is the concept of reusability in Java. See, reusable means if you have any class, without modifying the code, you can use the code, and along with the existing code, the user can add on their own code to the existing code. So it is possible in Java. So this is the concept of inheritance. See, what is the main benefit of the inheritance is, suppose if you create a class that is called base class, from that base class, if we create some other class called subclass, so subclass can able to access the base class methods along with the properties. See, let's look at some real-time example so that we can able to understand the inheritance concept very clearly. See, assume that all human beings are called person. Assume that a person, each and every person will have a name and designation. Okay, so these are the properties of the person, and then each and every person will have a behavior called learning, walking, eating. These are the activities carried out by the person. See, assume that person is called a superclass. See, all human being, we call it as a person. So by applying the person, assume that a programmer, see, programmer here is a subclass derived from the person. That means each and every human being is a person. So by applying this concept, we can call it as programmer as a derived class. Similarly, dancer, singer, all are called derived classes. They are derived from the concept called person. See, each and every person, that means programmer or dancer or singer, they have their own name as well as designations. For instance, programmer has a name and he is working for some company, and company name and his designation. So they belongs to the programmer only. In the same way, it is applicable for dancer also. A dancer has name and then designation. Group name might be a class name, like that we can call it as. Then singer has a name, designation, and the band which he is working for, that is called band name. So they are the unique values of each and every personalities. Likewise, they have additional concepts, additional methods. We can call it as methods. What are the methods? They are learn, walk, eat. So they, each and every person, they are derived from the concept of person. So learn, walk, eat are the basic characteristics of a person. We can get all those things for all the programmers, dancer or singer. Similarly, they have additionally their own characteristics or functions. Take for instance, programmer is able to write some coding. So that is called coding is the additional method which are included in the concept of programmer. Similarly, dancer can able to dance. Then likewise, singer can able to sing and play guitar. So these are the additional functions which are carried out for individual functionalities of each and every persons. So this is the concept of inheritance. We can get the existing values as well as methods, and if you want, we can additionally add some properties as well as methods to the each and every objects which are used. This is the concept of basic inheritance. Now we move on to the basic concepts of inheritance, that is parent class and child class. See, parent class is the class which provides the basic features to other class. The parent class is also known as superclass or base class. In the above example, the person is called base class or superclass. Likewise, a child class is a class which receives values, features from some other class. This is called derived class or subclass. In the previous example, we had dancer, singer and programmer. Those are called child classes. See, now we discuss about the concept of creating a class. How we are going to create a class. See, class name is the concept of creating a class. This is a basic concept, we all know that. In this example, super is the name of the class. The next thing, we are going to extend the super class into some other class. So how we are going to extend it? By applying the keyword called extends. Class sub is the derived class which extends the basic functions of the base class, that is called superclass. So within this we can able to access the basic concepts of superclass, as well as additional features can also be included. So this is the main concept of inheritance. Now we move on to the inheritance types. So there are 5 categories of inheritance. We just look at each and every types one by one with the help of some examples. See, let us just briefly look at the 5 categories. First one is single inheritance, multi-level, then hierarchical, multiple, then hybrid. So these are the 5 categories of inheritance. Java has 5 categories of inheritance, but some of the inheritance might not be implemented in Java. What are those things? We'll discuss one by one. See, first of all, we discuss about the concept of single inheritance. See, inheritance is the concept of acquiring one class data and methods to some other class. We all know that. So single inheritance means there is a one superclass which will be extended into one subclass. That is, from subclass we can able to access the methods and properties of superclass. This is the concept of single inheritance. Take for instance a real-time example. See, father and son relationship. See, father has some unique characteristics as well as behaviors. His son might be having some kind of same behavior activities, and along with he has some unique characteristics or unique capabilities. So this is called parent-child class example of a real-time concept. Let us look at some programming so that we can able to understand the concept very clearly. See, I have declared a class called animal. So inside the animal, eat is the method which will print the statement called eating. Now I have extending, that means I am expanding the animal class into another class called dog. See, dog is the derived class which gets the functions of animal. So this is the syntax of declaring a derived class. Extends the base class name. So by applying this concept, I am extending the class animal into dog. See, the dog class will have a function called bark which will print the statement barking. Now I am going to create an object for dog. See, in the main program D is the object I have created. Using this object, I am going to access the method called bark. The bark which is available inside the dog class, so that I can able to access it directly. So by applying the concept, it will print the statement barking. Then again I am calling one more method by using the object called D. So D dot eat means it will call the base class method, and then it will print the statement called eating. So you will get the statement like output of the barking and eating. These are the output which I will get. So likewise, I can able to access the derived class as well as the base class by using the object D, that is the derived class. So this is the concept of single inheritance. I hope you all clearly understood. Now we move on to the next concept called multi-level inheritance. See, multi-level in the sense we have chain of inheritance concepts. Chain of inheritance means along with single inheritance, we can add one more subclass. For instance, suppose we have a superclass, and suppose if we derived a class called class 1. So class 1 is the derived class of superclass. Similarly, assume that class 1 will have the superclass of another class called class 2. So in this concept, we have two superclasses when compared to class 2. Class 2 is the subclass, whereas class 1 is the superclass of class 2. Similarly, class 1 is the subclass and superclass is the super of the class 1. So likewise, we can create n number of classes one by one. So in this manner. So this is called multi-level inheritance. Now we move on to the example which we discussed in the previous example. So we have animal class, and then already in the previous example we extended the animal into dog. Similarly, we have a dog class which is already extended one from animal. Now I have extending the dog into one more class called baby dog. In the baby dog, I have method called weep, so it will print the statement weeping. Now I am going to create an object for the class baby dog. So the object name is D. So I am going to call all the three methods. First method I am going to call is weep. So that is inside the baby dog class. So it will automatically executed. Then weeping will be the output of the function or method. Then second one, I am calling the method called bark. So that is the base class of baby dog. So automatically that barking will be printed on the screen. And again I am calling the superclass, that is the animal class method eat from the derived class baby dog. So automatically d.eat will call the eat method of animal class, and it will be printed eating. So I will get the output like this. So the same concept is applicable for any kind of multi-level inheritance. So this is the second type of inheritance. Now we move on to the next one. This is called hierarchical inheritance. See, hierarchical means it is called a tree structured inheritance. Tree structured means you know very well, tree has a root node. Below that, n number of child nodes are present. Likewise, we can create one superclass. That superclass can be derived, can able to access some various derived classes like subclass 1, 2, 3, like that, and so on. So n number of classes can be derived based from the superclass. So this is the concept of hierarchical inheritance. Now we look at the example of hierarchical inheritance. The same example which we discussed in the previous two concepts, just slightly I have changed it. See, the first class is called animal, that is a superclass, that is also called a separate class. Now I am extending the animal into dog class. Similarly, I am extending the animal into another class called cat. So this is the concept of inheritance. I am extending one class into two subclasses called dog and cat. So each subclass will have a separate methods. Now I am going to create a object for cat class. See, in this cat class I have created an object called C. By using the object, I can able to access the method of the meow method. So I can call this method. This method will print the meowing statement on the screen. Similarly, I can able to call the eat method also, because the eat method is available within the base class, that is animal class. So the cat is derived from the animal class, so I can able to access the method of animal class method from the derived class cat. So c dot eat means it will print the statement eating. So this is very much clear. Now in case, suppose if I call the method of bark, which is available within the dog class, if I try to call the method bark by using the object C, the compiler will give an error message, because I have created object for cat class only. So if I can able to use the method meow or else the base class method from the cat, I cannot able to call the dog class methods, because I have not created object for the dog. So the compiler will give an error message. So this is the concept of hierarchical inheritance. So now we move on to the next concept called multiple inheritance. See, the multiple inheritance, let me explain the basic concepts. See, one class will have more than one superclasses and inheritance future from all parent classes. So this is the concept of multiple inheritance. Assume that I have two separate classes called class 1, class 2. Suppose I want to include, that means inherit the two classes into some other class, that is called subclass. So in this concept is called multiple inheritance. But kindly note, Java does not support multiple inheritance with classes. Why Java does not support multiple inheritance means, Sometimes, suppose if you want to access some methods of superclass from subclass, Java might get confused where the method is available. So that is the concept of confusing thing in Java. So that's why multiple inheritance does not support in Java. See, assume that I have three classes called A, B and C. There are three classes. See, class C inherits A and B classes. This is the scenario. Suppose if A and B classes have the same method, because A and B are separate classes, they may have same method that is possible in Java. See, now C is the derived class of A and B. From C, if you want to access the method which are common for A and B, see, if you create an object for C class, by using the object, if you try to access the method which are available in A and B, so the Java compiler will get confused because it is ambiguous one. Both the classes will have a same method, so the compiler will get confused which kind of method will be called. So this is the main disadvantage of using multiple inheritance in Java. So it is not supported in Java, but this multiple inheritance can be achieved by applying some other concept in Java. So this is overcome with the help of the other concept. That concept I'll discuss later. The next one is called hybrid inheritance. See, multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. That's what we discussed in the previous slide. So the hybrid inheritance is also not supported in Java. Since Java does not support multiple inheritance with the classes, so the hybrid inheritance is also not possible, because the hybrid inheritance is the same concept of multiple inheritance, whereas additionally, just look at the concept diagram. A parent class which is inherited in two classes called child class 1, child class 2, and these two child classes are the base classes of the child class 3. See, this is the concept of hybrid inheritance. So multiple inheritance is not supported. Similarly, hybrid inheritance is also not supported in Java. So the next concept is called interface. See, what is interface in the sense? The multiple inheritance can be achieved in Java by applying the concept of interface. See, an interface is a blueprint of a class. It has a static constants and abstract methods. See, interface is a mechanism to achieve abstraction. See, an interface will have the method of abstraction. So abstract method should not contain any body. It can be implemented in the derived class. So this is the concept of interface in Java. Let us move on to the example. See, interface is nothing but it is similar to class or blueprint of a class, but the only difference is it should not contain any method. That means that method should not contain any coding. See, look at this example. See, interface printable, that is a printable interface name. Within that interface I have declared a method called print. So in the print, it should not contain any coding part, only declaration has to be present. So how we can implement the method print? By using the inheritance concept. See, now suppose if we want to inherit a class in another class, we need to use extends keyword, whereas in the interface concept we can include the interface into some other class by using the concept, by using the keyword implements. So which is applicable only for interface only. So I am implementing the printable interface into class called my class. So within the class I have given the code for print. So the print method will print the statement hello. From main program I have created an object called obj, then obj.print will print the statement hello. So this is the concept of using interface in Java. Now we move on to the multiple inheritance. How we can achieve multiple inheritance by using the concept interface. See, assume that I have two separate interfaces. First one is called printable, then second one is called showable. There are two separate interfaces. Now I am going to include these two interfaces into a class called multi-inherit. So the mul-inherit will implement printable then showable. So the printable interface will have a method called print. Similarly, the showable interface will have a method called show. So I am extending these two within the class. I have given on some two statements, output statement called hello and welcome. From main program I have created an object. By using the object I can able to call those methods called print and show. So the print method will print the statement hello. Similarly, the show method will print welcome on the screen. So by using these interfaces I can able to achieve multiple inheritance in Java. So this is the main advantage of using interface concept in Java. Now we move on to the difference between classes and interfaces. See, in class we can instantiate variables and we can create an object, whereas in interface we cannot instantiate or variables or object can be created. So an interface can be implemented in some other interface or it can be implemented in some other class. So it is not possible to create an object for an interface. This is the first difference between class and interface. The next one is a class can contain concrete methods. Concrete method means a method which contains statements on it is called concrete method, whereas in interface it cannot contain concrete methods. So in the previous example we discussed, right? So there we had a method declaration. part only. We did not have any coding part in it. So that we can implement the method that is called abstract method can be implemented in the derived class. So that is the second difference of methods which are available in class as well as methods which are available in interface. The third difference is the access specifiers. So a class may have four types of access specifiers. They are called private, public, protected and default. Whereas in interface, it is the only one specifier used inside the interface called public. So this is the third difference between classes and interfaces. Now we move on to the final concept called how we are going to extend or implement. See, assume that I have a class. From that class, if I want to create another class, I need to use the keyword called extends. So by applying the extends keyword, I can able to create the derived classes. Similarly, one interface can be extended into some other interface by applying the keyword called extends. Likewise, the class extending concepts. The third one is, suppose if I want to create a class which is a derived of some other interface. So this is my scenario. So in this scenario, it is not possible to use the keyword extends because they are different. They belongs to separate categories. For example, class are different, interfaces are different. So in that case, I need to use the keyword implement. So a class can be used within interface or interface can be used in class. So in that case, you need to use the keyword called implements. So this is the concept of inheritance as well as interfaces available in Java language. I hope this class helps all of you to understand the basic concepts of inheritance as well as interface. Thank you.